Pay attention to the silver Dodge Caravan pulling into the Jefferson Elementary School parking lot. Row B, Space 9, March 14th, 2008, 3:22 p.m. The side door slides open. The boy climbing in is 8 years old. His name is Cameron Ellis. He's wearing a blue hoodie with a cartoon robot on the front, jeans with grass stains on both knees, and light-up sneakers that blink red with every step. His backpack is too big for his small frame, covered in superhero patches his grandmother sewed on last summer. He's supposed to be getting picked up by his uncle. That's what the note in the office said. Cameron Ellis loves 3 things: dinosaurs, chicken nuggets shaped like stars, and his Nintendo DS that he saved 4 months of allowance to buy. He hates spelling tests, Brussels sprouts, and having to wear church shoes. He still sleeps with a stuffed triceratops named Rexy that he's had since he was 3. His favorite color is orange. He wants to be a paleontologist when he grows up. He practices pronouncing it in the mirror every morning. Now pay attention to the driver. White male, late 40s. Dark baseball cap pulled low. Sunglasses, even though the sky is overcast. He never exits the vehicle. Never walks into the school office. Never signs any paperwork. The van has temporary tags in the rear window. Within 6 hours, Cameron Ellis's mother will be screaming his name in the Jefferson Elementary parking lot while police dogs circle the empty space where that van was parked. Within 3 days, every news station in Georgia will be showing Cameron's school photo, the one where he's missing his front tooth, and grinning at the camera. Within 2 weeks, the case will go cold. This is not a story about a child who wandered off. This is not a story about a mix-up with pickup arrangements. This is a story about an 8-year-old boy who was lured into a van by a predator who knew exactly what he was doing. And for 17 years, no one could prove it. Welcome to Missing Uncovered. If this story hits home, subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Now, let's begin. September 15th, 2025. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Department receives a call from a woman named Patricia Holmes. She's a retired school administrator, 73 years old, sorting through boxes in her attic because her daughter keeps telling her she needs to downsize. Patricia finds an old external hard drive from 2008. The label reads, Jefferson Elementary, Security Footage Archive. She plugs it into her laptop. The files are organized by date. She clicks randomly, scrolling through mundane footage of children arriving at school, playing at recess, getting picked up by parents. Then she sees the date, March 14th, 2008. She stops scrolling. Patricia Holmes was the assistant principal at Jefferson Elementary in 2008. She remembers Cameron Ellis. Everyone who worked there remembers Cameron Ellis, the boy who disappeared from the parking lot. The case that haunted the school for years. The reason they installed 12 additional security cameras and implemented a badge system for all adults entering school property. She opens the file. Camera angle 4. Parking lot view. 3:22 p.m. She watches a silver van pull into space. B9. Watches the side door slide open. Watches Cameron Ellis climb inside. She's seen this footage before. Police analyzed it 17 years ago. But Patricia has something the police didn't have in 2008. She has technology. She downloads video enhancement software. The kind that didn't exist in 2008. The kind that can sharpen blurry images, amplify resolution, clarify details that were invisible to the naked eye. She runs the footage through the program, frame by frame, focusing on the van's windshield, on the reflection in the side mirror, on the temporary tag in the rear window. At 4:47 p.m., Patricia Holmes calls the sheriff's department. Her voice is shaking. She tells them she can read the temporary tag number now, clear as day. She tells them she can see the driver's face reflected in the side mirror. She tells them Cameron Ellis didn't climb into that van alone. There was someone else already inside. A second person, a woman, sitting in the back seat, waiting. March 14th, 2008. Cameron Ellis is 8 years old, 3rd grade student at Jefferson Elementary School in Macon, Georgia. He lives with his mother, Shanice Ellis, in a small apartment on the east side of town. His father isn't in the picture. Never has been. It's just Cameron and his mom. She works 2 jobs, morning shift at a dental office, evening shift at Target. Cameron's uncle, Darnell, usually picks him up from school on Fridays when Shanice has to work late. Cameron is quiet in school. Not shy, exactly. Just thoughtful. His teacher, Mrs. Robinson, describes him as the kind of kid who observes before participating. He doesn't raise his hand often, but when he does, his answers are always carefully considered. He reads above grade level. His favorite books are about dinosaurs and space. He checks out the same dinosaur encyclopedia from the library every 2 weeks. That Friday morning, Cameron packs his backpack with his usual items. Homework folder. Reading book. Nintendo DS, hidden in the front pocket, even though he's not supposed to bring it to school. And a Ziploc bag with goldfish crackers that Shanice packed for snack time. He wears his favorite blue hoodie with the robot design. His light-up sneakers are getting too small, but he refuses to wear anything else. At 8:15 a.m., Shanice drops Cameron off at school. She works the early shift at the dental office on Fridays, which means she can't do pickup. She reminds Cameron that Uncle Darnell will be there at 3:30 p.m. Cameron nods. He's used to the routine. Uncle Darnell has been picking him up on Fridays since Cameron started first grade. At 2:45 p.m., the school office receives a phone call. A woman's voice. She says she's calling on behalf of Darnell Ellis. Says there's been a family emergency. Says Darnell can't make pickup today. But he's sending a friend to get Cameron instead. The woman provides Cameron's full name, his grade, his teacher's name, his mother's phone number. She knows everything. The office secretary, Linda Crawford, writes down the information. She asks for the name of the person picking up Cameron. The woman says his name is Marcus Webb. Says he's a family friend. Says Cameron knows him. Linda asks if this person is on Cameron's approved pickup list. The woman says she doesn't know, but it's an emergency and Darnell specifically asked for this favor. Linda hesitates. She tells the woman she needs to call Cameron's mother to verify. The woman says that's fine, gives Linda a phone number, then hangs up. Linda tries calling the number. It rings 4 times, then goes to a generic voicemail. She tries calling Shanice's cell phone. No answer. She tries Shanice's work number. The receptionist at the dental office says Shanice left early due to a family emergency. Linda feels relieved. If there's a family emergency, the story checks out. At 3:22 p.m. Cameron Ellis walks out of Jefferson Elementary School with his backpack bouncing against his shoulders and his light-up sneakers blinking with every step. His teacher, Mrs. Robinson, walks him to the designated pickup area in the parking lot. They wait. Cameron asks if Uncle Darnell is running late. Mrs. Robinson doesn't know about the phone call. She tells Cameron to wait near the office while she checks. While Mrs. Robinson walks toward the office, a silver Dodge Caravan pulls into space. B9. The side door slides open. A man inside calls Cameron's name. Says Uncle Darnell sent him. Says there's been an emergency and they need to hurry. Cameron hesitates. He's been taught not to go with strangers. But the man knows his name. Knows his uncle's name. And there's a woman in the back seat. She's smiling. She looks nice. She's holding a stuffed dinosaur. Cameron climbs into the van. The door slides shut. The van pulls out of the parking lot. The whole interaction takes less than 90 seconds. At 3:28 p.m., Mrs. Robinson returns to the pickup area. Cameron is gone. She scans the parking lot. Sees parents loading children into cars. Sees the crossing guard directing traffic. She doesn't see Cameron. She walks back into the school. Checks the bathroom. Checks his classroom. Checks the library. No Cameron. By 3:45 p.m., the school office is calling Shanice Ellis. No answer. They call Darnell. He answers on the second ring. He says he's on his way to pick up Cameron right now. He's running 15 minutes late because of traffic. He asks what's wrong. The office secretary, Linda Crawford, feels her stomach drop. She asks Darnell if he called the school about a family emergency. Darnell says no. She asks if he knows anyone named Marcus Webb. Darnell says no. By 4:10 p.m., Shanice Ellis arrives at Jefferson Elementary School. She's frantic. She left work early not because of a family emergency, but because she got a weird feeling and wanted to pick up Cameron herself. Call it mother's intuition. Something felt wrong. She bursts into the office demanding to know where her son is. Linda Crawford is on the phone with the police. Mrs. Robinson is crying in the corner. The principal, Robert Hayes, is reviewing security footage on a grainy monitor. By 4:30 p.m., Macon Police Department has officers on scene. They interview staff. They review the security footage. They see Cameron climbing into the silver van. They note the temporary tag in the rear window, but the resolution is too poor to read the numbers clearly. They see the driver. White male. Dark cap. Sunglasses. They see movement in the back seat, suggesting a second person, but the tinted windows make identification impossible. By 6 p.m., an Amber Alert is issued. Silver Dodge Caravan. Temporary Georgia tags. Last seen leaving Jefferson Elementary School. 8-year-old Cameron Ellis. Blue hoodie. Light-up sneakers. Brown skin. Short black hair. Missing front tooth. By 8 p.m., every news station in Georgia is covering the story. Cameron's school photo fills television screens across the state. Shanice Ellis sits in the Jefferson Elementary parking lot, unable to leave the spot where her son was last seen. Darnell stands beside her, feeling crushing guilt, even though he did nothing wrong. Police are checking traffic cameras. Highway Patrol is searching vehicles. The FBI is being notified. By midnight, Cameron Ellis has been missing for 8.5 hours. The silver van has vanished. No witnesses report seeing it. No traffic cameras captured clear images. The temporary tag is too blurry to trace. The phone number the woman used to call the school is a burner phone, turned off immediately after the call. The name Marcus Webb yields nothing useful too common. No hits in the system that match the description or circumstances. The trail is already cold. For 3 weeks, the search for Cameron Ellis dominates local news. Volunteers scour wooded areas near Macon. Police investigate every silver Dodge Caravan registered in Georgia. They interview sex offenders. They follow leads called in by people who think they saw Cameron at gas stations, rest stops, Walmart parking lots. None of the sightings pan out. Investigators focus on the phone call. The woman who called the school knew too much. She knew Cameron's full name, his teacher, his mother's phone number, his uncle's name. This wasn't random. Someone had been gathering information. Someone had been planning this. They investigate everyone in Cameron's life. Teachers, neighbors, Shanice's co-workers, Darnell's friends, members of their church. They find nothing suspicious. No one with connections to anyone matching the description of the man in the van or the woman in the back seat. They analyze the security footage endlessly. Technology in 2008 is limited. The video is grainy. The temporary tag is illegible. The driver's face is obscured by the cap and sunglasses. The woman in the back seat is just a shadow. Forensic experts try to enhance the images but make no meaningful progress. By April 2008, 1 month after Cameron disappeared, the active search is scaled back. Police keep the case open, but acknowledge they have no new leads. The FBI continues monitoring databases for any signs of Cameron. Shanice Ellis refuses to move on. She plasters Macon with missing person posters. Cameron's face appears on telephone poles, grocery store bulletin boards, church newsletters. By summer 2008, the media attention fades. Cameron Ellis becomes another missing child case in a system overwhelmed with missing child cases. Another face on a poster. Another family waiting for answers that never come. For 17 years, Shanice Ellis searches for her son. She never moves from the apartment they shared. She keeps Cameron's bedroom exactly as he left it. His dinosaur encyclopedia still sits on his nightstand. His Nintendo DS is plugged in, fully charged, waiting for him to come home and finish the game he was playing. His stuffed Triceratops, Rexy, sits on his pillow. His light-up sneakers, too small now for the boy he would have become, rest on the floor beside his bed. Every March 14th, Shanice returns to Jefferson Elementary School. She stands in parking lot space B9. She holds a photo of Cameron. She prays. She refuses to use past tense when she speaks about him. He is 8 years old. He loves dinosaurs. He wants to be a paleontologist. Present tense. Always present tense. People tell her to move on. To accept that Cameron is gone. To live her life. She can't. Won't. A mother knows. Cameron wouldn't just leave with strangers without fighting. Something terrible happened to him. But until someone shows her proof, until someone gives her answers, she refuses to believe her boy is anything other than missing. She hires private investigators she can't afford. 3 different ones over the years. Each one quits after months of hitting dead ends. The trail is too cold. Too much time has passed. They're sorry. She thanks them and returns to searching alone. She joins support groups for families of missing children. She attends vigils. She speaks at community events about child safety. She becomes an advocate, pushing for better school security protocols, for faster Amber Alert systems, for improved video surveillance technology in public places. She channels her grief into action because action is the only thing that keeps her from drowning. She works one job now. Had to quit Target years ago. The dental office where she worked morning shifts promoted her to office manager. Her boss, Dr. Patricia Chen, understands, gives her time off every March. Doesn't ask questions when Shanice needs to leave early because she got a tip about a possible sighting or a lead she needs to follow. Darnell remains close. He feels responsible even though he did nothing wrong. He visits Shanice every Sunday after church. They don't talk about Cameron much anymore. The pain is too familiar. But Darnell never forgets. On Cameron's birthday every year, he buys a dinosaur toy and places it on the memorial shelf in Shanice's living room. 17 dinosaurs now. A Triceratops, a T-Rex, a Velociraptor, a Brachiosaurus, each one wrapped in tissue paper, placed carefully beside the others. Police treat the case as unsolvable. Detective Marcus Johnson worked the investigation in 2008. He retired in 2019. Before he left, he told Shanice he was sorry. Said he thought about Cameron every day. Said he wished technology had been better back then. Said he wished they'd had better footage, better tools, better resources. Shanice thanked him for his honesty. The new detectives don't know Cameron's case the way Johnson did. It's just another file in an overstuffed cabinet, another cold case in a system with hundreds of cold cases. They're polite when Shanice calls. They take her information when she reports a possible sighting, but she can hear it in their voices. They don't believe they'll ever find him. Shanice Ellis is 45 years old now. She has gray hair at her temples that she doesn't bother dyeing. She has worry lines etched deep around her eyes. She has a photo of Cameron in her wallet, on her phone's lock screen, framed on every surface in her apartment. She has 17 years of nightmares. She has 17 years of wondering. She has 17 years of waiting. Until September 15th, 2025. When Patricia Holmes calls the sheriff's department with enhanced footage showing a legible temporary tag number and 2 faces that can finally be identified, Detective Elijah Carter takes the call from Patricia Holmes. He's 42 years old, been with Jefferson County Sheriff's Department for 19 years. He was a rookie in 2008 when Cameron Ellis disappeared. He remembers the case, remembers how it haunted the department, remembers Detective Johnson staying up for 72 hours straight, reviewing footage, and chasing leads that went nowhere. Patricia explains about the hard drive, about the enhancement software, about what she can see now that was invisible 17 years ago. Carter tells her to bring the hard drive to the station immediately. He clears his schedule. This might be nothing. Technology can only do so much with poor quality footage, but it might be something. After 17 years, even the smallest, something matters. Patricia arrives at the station at 5:30 p.m. She hands Carter the external hard drive and a USB stick with the enhanced footage already processed. Her hands shake as she explains what she did. Carter thanks her. He walks to his office. He plugs the USB stick into his computer. He opens the file. The enhanced footage is remarkably clear. Not perfect. Still grainy in places, but significantly improved. Carter watches the silver van pull into space B9. He watches Cameron Ellis approach. He watches the side door slide open. Then, he sees what Patricia saw. The temporary tag in the rear window. Magnified. Sharpened. Legible. Georgia temporary tag. T4779BX. Carter freezes the frame. He writes down the number. He opens the database. Temporary tags, issued in Georgia, in March 2008. He enters the search parameters. The system takes 45 seconds to load results. One match. Temporary tag T4779BX issued March 7th, 2008 to Michael Brennan of Valdosta, Georgia. Vehicle. 2006. Dodge Caravan, silver. Tag valid for 30 days. Carter pulls up Michael Brennan's records. White male. Date of birth, August 12th, 1961. Address in 2008. 1847, Oakwood Drive, Valdosta, Georgia. No criminal record. No warrants. No prior contact with law enforcement. Carter searches for current records on Michael Brennan. Driver's license expired 2019, not renewed. No current address on file. No vehicle registrations. No phone number. No recent activity of any kind. Michael Brennan has effectively disappeared from all systems. Carter runs a deeper search. Social Security records. Credit reports. Tax filings. Michael Brennan filed taxes for the last time in 2018. Listed occupation. Self-employed contractor. Filed address. P.O. Box in Valdosta. No physical address. After 2018, nothing. No trace. Carter returns to the enhanced footage. He advances frame by frame. He focuses on the side mirror. Patricia was right. The driver's face is visible in the reflection. Carter zooms in. The face is blurry but identifiable. White male. Dark hair. Heavy build. Features consistent with the driver's license photo of Michael Brennan. Then Carter focuses on the back seat. The tinted window obscured most details in the original footage. But the enhancement reveals what was hidden. A woman. Sitting behind the driver. Brown hair pulled back. Round face. Smiling at Cameron. Holding something in her hands. The stuffed dinosaur that Patricia mentioned. Carter takes screenshots. He sends them to the department's forensic imaging specialist, requesting further enhancement of the woman's face. Then he picks up his phone. He calls Shanice Ellis. Shanice Ellis is folding laundry in her living room when her phone rings. She sees the caller ID. Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. Her heart stops. She's received calls from the Sheriff's Department before. Usually they're checking in, updating her on the status of the case, which is always the same. No new leads. She answers. Detective Carter identifies himself. He tells her they have new information about Cameron's disappearance. He tells her they've identified the vehicle from the security footage. They've identified the owner. They're working on locating him. Shanice's hands start shaking so badly, she nearly drops the phone. She asks what this means. Are they reopening the investigation? Is Cameron alive? Where is he? Detective Carter tells her they don't have those answers yet. They're in the early stages of following this lead. But it's the first real progress they've made in 17 years. He asks if she can come to the station tomorrow morning. He wants to show her the enhanced footage. He wants to get her input on anything she might recognize. Shanice agrees. She hangs up. She sits down on the couch. She doesn't cry. She's cried too many tears over 17 years. She just sits. Breathes. Feels something she hasn't felt in a very long time. Hope. The forensic imaging specialist, Dr. Raymond Foster, works on the screenshots for 3 days. He uses advanced facial recognition software. He maps the woman's facial structure from the limited angles available in the footage. He cross-references the results against databases. Missing persons, criminal records, social media archives from 2008. On September 18, 2025, Dr. Foster calls Detective Carter with results. He's identified the woman in the back seat with 87% confidence. Her name is Jennifer Brennan, wife of Michael Brennan. Date of birth, June 4th, 1964. Last known address, 1847 Oakwood Drive, Valdosta, Georgia. The same address as Michael Brennan. Carter pulls Jennifer Brennan's records. No criminal history, no missing person reports, no death certificate on file. Like her husband, she vanished from all systems after 2018. No tax filings, no credit activity, no social media presence. Nothing. Carter digs deeper. He contacts Valdosta Police Department. He requests any information they have on Michael and Jennifer Brennan. A detective named Lisa Monroe calls him back within 2 hours. She tells Carter that the Brennans were investigated in 2012 as part of a child welfare check initiated by concerned neighbors. The neighbors reported seeing children entering the Brennan home, but never seeing them leave. Multiple children over the years. The neighbors thought the Brennans might be running an unlicensed daycare. Child Protective Services conducted a home visit. Michael and Jennifer claimed they provided foster care for children with special needs. They showed documentation from a private agency called Hope Haven Family Services. CPS verified the paperwork and closed the case. Detective Monroe tells Carter that Hope Haven Family Services turned out to be a shell organization. It was exposed in 2016 as part of a federal investigation into illegal adoption and child trafficking networks. Several people connected to Hope Haven were arrested, but Michael and Jennifer Brennan were never charged. They were questioned, but claimed they had no knowledge of any illegal activities. They said they believed Hope Haven was legitimate. Investigators couldn't prove otherwise. After 2016, the Brennans sold their house and disappeared. Monroe says local police assumed they relocated out of state to avoid scrutiny. There were suspicions, but no evidence to pursue charges. The case went cold. Carter asks if Monroe has any information about children who were placed with the Brennans through Hope Haven. Monroe sends him a file. 16 names. 16 children placed with Michael and Jennifer Brennan between 2009 and 2016. All of them supposedly moved to permanent placements with adoptive families. But Hope Haven's records were fraudulent. No one knows where those children actually went. Carter stares at the list of names. 16 children. None of them named Cameron Ellis. This operation had been going on longer than anyone realized. Detective Carter calls the FBI. He speaks with Special Agent Nicole Warren, who worked the Hope Haven Family Services investigation in 2016. He explains about Cameron Ellis, about the enhanced footage, about Michael and Jennifer Brennan. Agent Warren tells Carter she remembers the Brennans. She tried to build a case against them but couldn't. The paper trail was too clean. The children, who were supposedly adopted through Hope Haven, couldn't be traced. The adoptive families listed in the records didn't exist. But the Brennans claimed ignorance. They had documentation for every child placed in their care, and every child removed from their care. Signed. Forms. Official-looking stamps. It all appeared legitimate. Warren says the investigation revealed that Hope Haven was part of a larger network operating across 6 states. The scheme involved fake foster care agencies, fraudulent adoption paperwork, and children who simply vanished from the system. Some were sold to couples desperate to adopt. Others disappeared entirely. The ringleader, a man named Thomas Caldwell, was arrested in 2017 and sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. During Caldwell's interrogation, he refused to name his associates. He took plea deal that didn't require him to cooperate. He's currently serving time in a federal facility in Pennsylvania. Warren says she's tried multiple times to get information from Caldwell about the Brennans, but he won't talk. Carter asks if Warren can try again. He tells her about Cameron Ellis, about 17 years of a mother waiting, about enhanced footage that finally gave them names. Warren says she'll contact the prison. She'll try. 4 days later, Agent Warren calls Carter back. She spoke with Thomas Caldwell. He's still refusing to provide detailed information, but he confirmed that Michael and Jennifer Brennan were part of the network. He said they specialized in acquiring children who wouldn't be missed. Children from unstable homes. Children whose parents were in the system or had criminal records. Children who fell through the cracks. Warren asked specifically about Cameron Ellis. Caldwell said the name didn't sound familiar, but that didn't mean anything. He dealt with dozens of operations. The Brennans had their own operation within the larger network. He didn't oversee every acquisition. Warren tells Carter she's officially reopening the investigation into the Brennans. She's filing federal warrants. She's coordinating with the U.S. Marshals Service to locate them. She asks Carter to keep Shanice Ellis informed, but to manage her expectations. Even if they find the Brennans, there's no guarantee they'll find Cameron. 17 years is a long time. The trail is ancient. Carter understands. He calls Shanice anyway. He tells her the FBI is involved. He tells her they're actively searching for the people who took Cameron. He tells her not to give up hope, but also not to expect quick answers. Shanice thanks him. She's waited 17 years. She can wait a little longer. The U.S. Marshals Service locates Michael and Jennifer Brennan on October 3, 2025. They're living in a small town in Montana under assumed names. Robert and Susan Meyer. They've been there since 2017. They run a small antique shop. They keep to themselves. Neighbors describe them as quiet, private, but friendly when approached. Federal agents arrest them on October 4th, 2025. Michael Brennan is charged with kidnapping, interstate child trafficking, and conspiracy. Jennifer Brennan faces the same charges. Both are transported to Georgia to face additional charges related to Cameron Ellis's abduction. During initial interrogation, both Brennans refuse to speak without attorneys. They're appointed public defenders. The attorneys advise them not to cooperate. The prosecution offers a deal. Information about Cameron Ellis and the other children in exchange for reduced sentences. The Brennans refuse. Detective Carter and Agent Warren work the case together. They execute search warrants on the Brennans' home in Montana. They find nothing. No records. No photographs. No evidence connecting them to any missing children. The Brennans were careful. They knew how to cover their tracks. Carter and Warren review the Brennans' financial records. They trace purchases made between 2008 and 2016. They find patterns, frequent cash withdrawals, purchases of children's clothing, toys, school supplies, but nothing that proves the children were acquired illegally. The Brennans maintain the facade of legitimate foster parents. Carter returns to the original evidence: the enhanced security footage, the temporary tag, the identification of the Brennans. It's enough to charge them with Cameron's abduction, but it's not enough to find Cameron. On October 15, 2025, Shanice Ellis sits in the courtroom during the Brennans' arraignment. She watches as Michael and Jennifer Brennan are led into the room in orange jumpsuits and shackles. She stares at their faces. These are the people who took her son. These are the people who destroyed her life. She feels rage and grief and desperate hope all at once. The judge reads the charges: kidnapping, child trafficking, conspiracy. Both defendants plead not guilty. Their attorneys request bail. The prosecution argues their flight risks. The judge agrees. Bail is denied. The Brennans will remain in custody, pending trial. After the hearing, Shanice approaches Detective Carter outside the courtroom. She asks if they've said anything about Cameron, where he is, if he's alive. Carter tells her the Brennans aren't talking. Shanice's face crumbles. She's waited 17 years for this moment, for answers, for justice. But she still has nothing except the faces of the people who took her baby. Carter promises her they're not giving up. They're continuing to investigate. They're searching for any evidence that might lead them to Cameron or the other children the Brennans trafficked. But the reality is grim. 17 years is a long time. Too long. In November 2025, Agent Warren receives a phone call from an attorney in Arizona named Daniel Ross. He represents a woman named Sarah Mitchell, who saw news coverage of the Brennans' arrest. Sarah Mitchell was adopted in 2010 at the age of 9. She's now 23 years old. She believes she was trafficked through the Hope Haven network. Warren travels to Arizona to interview Sarah. Sarah tells her story. She remembers being taken from her mother when she was 8 years old. She remembers living with a couple who seemed nice at first. She remembers other children coming and going. She remembers being told she was going to a new family. She remembers being driven across state lines. She remembers being handed over to a couple who paid cash. The couple who adopted her were not abusive. They loved her. They raised her well. They told her they adopted her through a private agency because they couldn't have children of their own. They showed her paperwork that looked official. Sarah grew up believing her adoption was legitimate. But Sarah never forgot her biological mother. She tried searching for her as an adult, but found nothing. No records, no trace. It was as if she'd never existed. When Sarah saw news coverage of the Brennans and Hope Haven, she recognized the name of the agency from her adoption paperwork. Warren shows Sarah photographs of Michael and Jennifer Brennan. Sarah studies them carefully. She says she's not certain, but the woman looks familiar. She might have been the woman who drove her to Arizona. Sarah can't be sure. She was so young. It was so long ago. Warren asks if Sarah remembers any other children who were with the couple before her adoption. Sarah says yes. She remembers a boy. He was younger than her, maybe 8 or 9. He was quiet, shy. He loved dinosaurs. He had a stuffed dinosaur he carried everywhere. Sarah only knew him for a few weeks before she was moved. She never saw him again. Warren feels her pulse quicken. She shows Sarah a photograph of Cameron Ellis. Sarah stares at the photo for a long time. She says she can't be certain. She was only 9 years old. Her memories are fragmented. But yes, the boy in the photo could be the boy she remembers. The age is right. The timeline fits. Warren asks Sarah if she knows what happened to that boy. Sarah says no. She was moved before he was. She assumes he was adopted like she was, but she doesn't know. Agent Warren shares Sarah Mitchell's testimony with Detective Carter. It's not conclusive. Sarah can't definitively identify Cameron. She can't provide information about where he went. But it's the first indication that Cameron might have survived the initial abduction, that he might have been placed in the Brennans' foster home, that he might have been trafficked through the Hope Haven network like the other children. Carter and Warren develop a new strategy. They begin searching for adoptions finalized in 2008 and 2009 that might be connected to Hope Haven. They focus on adoptions processed through private agencies. Adoptions that involve cash payments. Adoptions where the biological parents' identities are unclear or missing. It's an enormous task. Thousands of adoptions occur every year. The Hope Haven network operated across 6 states. The records are incomplete or fraudulent. But Carter and Warren work methodically. They build a database. They cross-reference names. They follow paper trails. In December 2025, they identify 12 adoptions between 2008 and 2009 that match the profile. 12 families who adopted children through private agencies that no longer exist. 12 children whose biological parents can't be traced. 12 potential matches for Cameron Ellis. Carter and Warren contact each family. Most are cooperative. They provide photographs of their adopted children. They share what they know about the adoptions. 3 families refuse to cooperate, citing privacy concerns. Carter and Warren obtain court orders to access adoption records in those cases. Of the 12 children, 8 are girls, 4 are boys. Carter and Warren focus on the boys. They're looking for a child who would be 25 years old now. A child who might have been 8 in 2008. A child who might have physical characteristics matching Cameron Ellis. They narrow the list to 2 possibilities. One is a young man named Joshua Parker, adopted in 2009 by a couple in Alabama. The other is a young man named David Chen, adopted in 2008 by a couple in Tennessee. On January 8, 2026, Detective Carter and Agent Warren travel to Birmingham, Alabama to meet Joshua Parker. Joshua is 24 years old. He works as a software developer. He was adopted when he was 9 years old. He has no memory of his life before the adoption. His adoptive parents told him he was placed for adoption by a mother who couldn't care for him. Warren shows Joshua photographs of Cameron Ellis. Joshua studies them. He says the face looks vaguely familiar, but he can't be sure. He might have seen photos of Cameron in news coverage over the years. Warren asks if Joshua would be willing to provide a DNA sample for comparison with Cameron's biological family. Joshua agrees. 1 week later, Carter and Warren travel to Nashville, Tennessee to meet David Chen. David is 25 years old. He works as a veterinary technician. He was adopted when he was 8 years old. His adoptive parents are Chinese American. They told David they adopted him through a private agency that specialized in placing children from disadvantaged backgrounds with loving families. David has always known he was adopted. His parents were open about it. They showed him his adoption paperwork. They told him his biological mother was young and unable to care for him. They said she chose adoption because she loved him and wanted him to have a better life. Warren shows David photographs of Cameron Ellis. David stares at the photos for a long time. He doesn't say anything at first. Then he asks if Cameron liked dinosaurs. Warren's breath catches. She says yes. David's eyes fill with tears. David tells them he remembers fragments. A room with dinosaur posters. A woman with a kind voice. A man who scared him. He remembers being told his mother didn't want him anymore. He remembers crying. He remembers a car ride that lasted hours. He remembers being handed to a couple who spoke a language he didn't understand at first. His adoptive parents were good to him. They loved him. They taught him Mandarin and English. They gave him opportunities. They never knew his adoption was illegal. They believed they were rescuing a child from a broken system. Warren asks David if he would be willing to provide a DNA sample. David says yes. Then he asks if his real mother is still looking for him. The DNA results come back on January 22nd, 2026. Joshua Parker is not a match for Shanice Ellis. David Chen is a 99.9% match. David Chen is Cameron Ellis. Detective Carter calls Shanice Ellis at 9:47 a.m. He tells her, they found her son. He's alive. He's safe. He's been living in Tennessee for 17 years. He was adopted by a family who didn't know the adoption was illegal. He's 25 years old now. He goes by a different name. He has a different life. But he's alive. Shanice Ellis drops the phone. She falls to her knees. She screams. 17 years of grief pour out in one moment. 17 years of not knowing. 17 years of hoping and searching and refusing to give up. Her son is alive. Darnell is at her apartment within minutes. He finds her on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. She tells him, they found Cameron. He's alive. Darnell breaks down. They hold each other and cry tears of relief, and joy, and overwhelming emotion. On February 2nd, 2026, Shanice Ellis meets her son for the first time in 17 years. The reunion is arranged at a neutral location, a private room at the FBI field office in Atlanta. Agent Warren facilitates the meeting. David Chen's adoptive parents, Lisa and James Chen, are present. They've supported David through this impossible situation. They've told him they love him no matter what. They've told him he can make his own choices about his future. Shanice walks into the room. She sees her son. He's 25 years old now. Tall. Broad-shouldered. He has her eyes. He has his father's nose. He's wearing jeans and a t-shirt with a veterinary clinic logo. He looks nervous. Shanice doesn't know what to say. She spent 17 years imagining this moment. But now that it's here, words fail her. She just looks at him. Her baby. Her Cameron. Alive. David speaks first. He says he doesn't remember much about his life before he was 8. He remembers fragments. A blue hoodie. Light-up sneakers. Chicken nuggets shaped like stars. He remembers someone calling him Cameron. He remembers feeling safe and loved. Then he remembers being scared and confused. Then he remembers his new life with the Chens. He tells Shanice he's grateful she never stopped looking for him. He tells her he wishes he remembered more. He tells her he doesn't know who he is right now. He's been David Chen for 17 years. But he was Cameron Ellis first. He doesn't know how to reconcile those two identities. Shanice tells him he doesn't have to choose. He can be both. He can be whoever he wants to be. She just wants him to know that she never stopped loving him. She never forgot him. She never gave up. They talk for 2 hours. It's awkward, emotional, overwhelming. David asks questions about his childhood. Shanice shows him photographs. His baby pictures. His school photos. Videos of him playing with his dinosaur toys. David watches the videos and cries. He doesn't remember, but he feels something, a connection to the child he was. Lisa and James Chen watch from the corner of the room. They're heartbroken and relieved at the same time. They love David. They raised him. But they understand he was stolen from Shanice. They understand the complexity of this situation. There are no villains here except the people who trafficked him. At the end of the meeting, Shanice asks David if she can hug him. David nods. She wraps her arms around him. He's so much taller than she remembered. He's a man now. But he's still her baby. She holds him and cries and whispers, "I love you. I never stopped loving you." David hugs her back. He doesn't remember her, but he knows she's his mother, and that matters. The legal proceedings against Michael and Jennifer Brennan move forward. In March 2026, both defendants agree to plea deals in exchange for information about the other children trafficked through the Hope Haven network. They provide names, locations, and details about adoptions they facilitated. The information leads to the identification of 11 more children who were illegally adopted. Not all of the families are willing to cooperate. Some refuse to believe their adoptions were illegal. Some fear David legally changes his name to David Cameron Chen Ellis. It honors both identities, both families, both lives. He keeps the dinosaur toys Shanice saved from his childhood. He keeps the photos. He's learning about the boy he was. He's integrating that child into the man he became. Shanice returns to work at the dental office. Dr. Chen throws a celebration when she announces Cameron is alive. The whole staff cries. They've supported Shanice for 17 years. They've watched her refuse to give up. They're overjoyed that her faith was rewarded. Shanice still keeps Cameron's bedroom as it was, but she changes one thing. She adds new photos. Photos of David as an adult. Photos of David with the Chens. Photos of her and David together. The room becomes a bridge between past and present. Between the boy who was lost and the man who was found. On March 14th, 2026, 18 years after Cameron Ellis disappeared, Shanice returns to Jefferson Elementary School. She stands in parking lot space B9. But this time, David is with her. They stand together. They hold hands. Shanice prays. She thanks God for bringing her son back. She thanks everyone who helped. She thanks Patricia Holmes for finding that hard drive. She thanks Detective Carter and Agent Warren for never giving up. David places a small dinosaur toy on the ground in space B9. A triceratops, like the one he had as a child. Like the one he doesn't remember but that Shanice kept safe for him. It's a memorial. Not to death, to survival, to resilience. To the mother who never stopped searching and the son who was found. Jefferson Elementary School dedicates a plaque in the main office. It reads, Cameron Ellis, lost the 14th of March, 2008, found the 22nd of January, 2026, because one mother refused to forget. The school updates all security protocols, implements stricter pickup procedures, installs high-definition cameras with cloud backup, creates training programs for staff about recognizing abduction tactics. Shanice starts a foundation called the Cameron Ellis Foundation. It provides resources for families of missing children. It funds advanced forensic technology. It advocates for better security in schools and public places. It pushes for legislation that makes child trafficking harder and prosecutions easier. She speaks at conferences. She tells Cameron's story. She tells parents to trust their instincts. She tells law enforcement to never give up on cold cases. She tells communities to support families of missing children, not dismiss them as delusional or obsessed. Every March 14th, there's a vigil at Jefferson Elementary. Families of missing children gather. They hold candles. They share stories. They support each other. They honor Cameron and all the children who haven't been found yet. Shanice stands at the center. She's no longer alone in her grief. She's part of a community fighting for justice. Detective Carter transfers to a new cold case unit specifically focused on child abductions. He uses Cameron's case as a model. He advocates for using advanced technology to review old evidence. He reopens files that were considered unsolvable. He finds new leads in cases everyone else abandoned. Agent Warren continues working with the FBI's Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force. She uses information from the Brennan case to dismantle other trafficking networks. She coordinates with international agencies. She saves children. She reunites families. She carries Cameron's photo in her case file as a reminder of why she does this work. The story doesn't end with a perfectly restored relationship between mother and son. It doesn't end with Cameron moving back to Macon and picking up where they left off. That's not possible. 17 years changed everything. Cameron grew up as David. He has a life. He has people who love him. He can't undo all of that. But the story ends with truth. With justice. With a mother who fought for 17 years and won. With a son who knows his real story. With a system that failed, but eventually made it right. With technology that gave old evidence new life. With a community that learned to do better. Shanice Ellis is 46 years old now. She still has gray hair at her temples. She still has worry lines around her eyes. But she also has something she didn't have for 17 years. Peace. Not complete peace. Not the peace of never losing her son in the first place, but the peace of knowing where he is. Of knowing he's safe. Of knowing he's alive. Of knowing he knows she loves him. She keeps his school photo from 2008 on her living room wall. The one where he's missing his front tooth and grinning at the camera. Right next to it is a new photo from 2026. David at 25, smiling, healthy, alive, same eyes, same spirit, different life. Cameron Ellis was lost for 17 years. But he's not lost anymore. He's found. And his mother's fight is the reason why. That's what matters. That's what the world needs to remember. Not how he was taken, but how he was recovered. Not by luck, not by chance. By a mother who refused to forget. By a mother who refused to give up. By a mother who refused to let her son become just another statistic. That's how Cameron Ellis came home.